Hey groups, I want to talk a little bit today about three things that are working really well across all of our 35 plus groups right now. One is increasing face-to-face volume. Two is really focusing in on chapter goals. And three is a pre-meeting guest touch point process that really helps set the bar, makes guests feel welcome on the front end. So let's start with number one, in increasing face-to-face volume. Our two biggest drivers of referrals that we can measure are face-to-face meetings and meeting attendance rate overall. So with all our members, our ideal meeting attendance rate is between 85 and 90%. Now, occasionally in summer months, we see that number dip to 70, 75%. So if attendance goes down, to counteract a drop in referrals, our face-to-face meeting volume needs to go up. Now, a couple suggestions I have is shorten the length of time for your face-to-face meetings. 15, 20-minute meetings with existing members works really well, and they don't have to be in person. They can be a phone call. They can be a chat in a parking lot post-meeting. They can be a Zoom call setting. But it's really where you're walking in and focusing maybe on hitting your target market, going over your 5 to 7 key COIs or referral sources so we can work on introductions. If you've got a list of specific targets you're going after, that's fantastic. Or we're seeing folks working on just short scripts that they can use to tee each other up regularly. But all those member-to-member face-to-face meetings ought to end with, one thing I can do to help you out right now? So it finishes with a call to action, and then it's someone taking a shot for the other one. Now, your face-to-face meetings with new members, with prospective members and guests, I highly recommend they're in person because that's how we build the rapport. But once we've got that rapport established, we can really focus in with phone calls, Zoom meetings, quick parking lot sessions, but stay focused and shorten your time length. And if you increase your volume, that will drive your referrals. Two is just focusing on chapter goals. All our groups set 3 to 4 goals typically when they change officers. And it's good to go over those at a minimum of once a quarter. Our best groups are even doing little things like laminating their chapter goals and spending 2 or 3 minutes on one key area at every meeting so they can drive it and just stay focused. And a lot of times we'll see groups run a contest in the summer or fall, and it tends to be something simple like what I call a 3-2-1 plus one. There's a different video on that that's related to contest that you can watch in an education spot or just to prep on running those, but I highly recommend running the contest because it incentivizes the behavior that you want to see, and typically they're fun too. The last one is reaching out to guests prior to the meeting. Every member within your group, if a guest registers before the meeting, they get an email that just says visitor registered. It has their name, their company, their email, their phone number, the date they're attending. And some of our groups that are just really good at recruiting, they really focus on the first impression and the touch points. And so they'll look at it and say, hey, I've got a guest registered 2 weeks out, and 1 or 2 members, and typically the recruitment chair drives this. They'll say, hey, Sammy and Mary, I need you guys to reach out to this guest that's registered because it's kind of in your normal sphere of influence. And typically they're just saying something like, hey, look forward to meeting you. See you're coming to our meeting on September 2nd. Look forward to meeting you then. Or if it's a really long gap, like 4 to 6 weeks, some of those groups that are really good at recruitment, 1 or 2 people are even reaching out for a face-to-face meeting beforehand. And that way, before the guest even walks in the meeting, they've met 1 or 2 people. It helps set that first impression. It shortens the recruitment cycle if they are a prospective member. And keep in mind, guests allow us to expand our existing network and meet new people, in addition to adding members, but not everyone's a fit. This thing doesn't fit for everyone, so we can always kind of use it as an excuse within our program to expand our network. So 3 things working really well right now: increase your face-to-face volume, decrease your time that you spend on them, focusing on your chapter goals. Contests are great, and then focus on the reach out to guests prior to the meeting.